I wonder if you've seen the recent claim, circulating in Taiwan that the J-35, this new stealth carrier-based fighter, can only fly for 7 minutes at most, essentially an unfinished product incapable of sustained combat operations. This claim has spread like wildfire across Taiwanese social media, sparking widespread discussion. Their reasoning sounds quite plausible, based on information released by CCTV and expert calculations. The J-35 can only fly for 7 minutes when operating 900 kilometers away from its carrier. So how exactly did they arrive at this 7-minute figure? Is this actually the case? This 7-minute data point was actually calculated by Taiwanese media, based on the combat alert range mentioned in CCTV reports. CCTV did report that the J-35's combat alert range is roughly 900 to 1,000 kilometers. Taiwanese experts used this distance to calculate that flying from the carrier to the target area and back would consume most of the fuel, leaving only enough for about 7 minutes of flight time in the mission zone. However, the flaw in this calculation lies in conflating the fighter's high-intensity combat time with its total airborne duration. A fighter's airborne time encompasses several distinct phases: routine cruising, slow-speed patrols over combat zones, and high-intensity combat operations once engaged. The 7-minute figure specifically refers to the latter scenario, the minute spent in supersonic flight with afterburner engaged, and performing complex maneuvers after reaching the target area. This limitation isn't unique to the J-35. All fighter jets worldwide face the same constraint when engaging in intense combat. The F-14 Tomcat, a heavy carrier-based fighter, could typically cruise for 2 to 3 hours. Yet during actual combat, when engaging targets with afterburner, its effective combat duration was only about 10 minutes. The U.S. Navy's current carrier-based mainstay, the F-35C, has an operational radius of approximately 1,100 to 1,240 kilometers. While it can cruise for over an hour under normal conditions, it can only sustain operations for about 30 minutes in high-intensity combat environments. Data indicates the F-35C's standard combat radius approaches 600 nautical miles, yet under high-intensity operations, it can only maintain airborne time for about 35 minutes. Similarly, the French Navy's Rafale M fighter boasts strong endurance, typically flying for 3 hours, but under afterburner combat conditions, it can only operate for about 10 minutes. Therefore, this 7-minute limit isn't a flaw of the J-35, but rather a universal characteristic of modern fighters during high-intensity combat. Modern aerial combat differs from past engagements. It no longer involves prolonged dogfights but relies more on beyond visual range (BVR) operations, flying to target, launching missiles, and withdrawing. Prolonged airborne time actually increases risks. Taiwanese media's calculations are essentially an attempt to disparage this fighter jet by focusing on engine performance and airframe design. They persistently compare the J-35's range to that of the land-based heavy fighter J-20, which is inherently unfair. One is a carrier-based aircraft, the other a land-based fighter. Their missions and takeoff, landing conditions are fundamentally different. Carrier-based aircraft require specialized structural adaptations for carrier operations, foldable wings, reinforced landing gear, all of which add weight and reduce range. Comparing it to land-based fighters without these constraints is inappropriate. Regarding engines, China's aviation engine technology was indeed a weakness in the past, but that has changed. The WS-19 engine powering the J-35 boasts a thrust-to-weight ratio exceeding 10 and generates over 11.5 tons of thrust, matching or even surpassing the performance of the American F-414 engine. According to the latest publicly available data, the WS-19's maximum thrust has reached 11.8 tons, essentially matching the F-414's 11.9-ton level. The chief designer of the WS-19 was recently elected as an academician of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, indicating that this engine is no longer merely a concept on paper but has achieved tangible results that have been recognized. Another crucial factor is the launch platform. The J-35 currently employs electromagnetic catapult launch on the Fujian aircraft carrier, which is entirely different from the previous ski jump takeoff method. Electromagnetic catapults can precisely control thrust based on the aircraft's weight, enabling it to consume less fuel during takeoff and achieve true full weapons takeoff capability. Official media previously reported that the J-35, J-15T, and KJ-600 aircraft have all completed electromagnetic catapult launch and landing training on the Fujian aircraft carrier. Military experts note that electromagnetic launch enables the J-35 to take off rapidly with full fuel and stealth configuration, leveraging its low detectability to penetrate enemy air defense networks. This significantly enhances the J-35's fuel efficiency during missions, thereby guaranteeing its combat radius and endurance. Taiwanese experts calculating a 7-minute window may not have fully accounted for this factor. Based on publicly available information, the J-35's combat radius is approximately 1,100 kilometers, comparable to the US F-35C. During routine patrol missions, it can comfortably operate at subsonic speeds for over 40 minutes. Factoring in all operational time, it is entirely feasible for the aircraft to fly for several hours from takeoff to landing. CCTV recently unveiled the J-35 production line for the first time, showcasing unpainted aircraft under assembly. Academician Sun Kong of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, involved in the development, stated in an interview that the J-35 employs a highly integrated design. Though smaller than the J-15, it boasts superior information processing capabilities and world-class stealth performance. In terms of stealth design, the J-35's airframe surface is exceptionally smooth with minimal seams. Its vertical stabilizer, wings, and horizontal stabilizer all feature tapered edges, resulting in a radar cross-section among the smallest of any stealth fighter globally. Returning to the 7-minute issue, any carrier-based aircraft operating at a range of 900 kilometers typically either strikes and departs or engages the enemy before returning. This distance approaches the operational radius limit for most fighter jets. Even the F-35C, when operating at such a distance, would have just enough fuel left for the return leg, leaving little time for lingering maneuvers. Therefore, criticizing this capability is as illogical as mocking a sprinter for panting after a 100-meter dash. Considering the J-35's overall performance, its maximum takeoff weight approaches 30 tons, with an internal fuel capacity of approximately 8 tons. This places it in a completely different class from lightweight fighters like the MiG-29, which weighs over 18 tons. Applying the MiG-29's range metrics to the J-35 demonstrates a fundamental lack of understanding. The F-35C carries 8.9 tons of internal fuel, while the J-35 carries slightly less. However, thanks to the efficiency of its twin engines and superior aerodynamic design, its range and combat radius are comparable. At the Zhuhai Air Show, the FC-31's 2.0 variant already disclosed specifications, a combat radius of 1,250 kilometers in internal fuel mode. The J-35 is an improved version of that, so its data will only be better, not worse. Taiwanese media singled out this 7-minute high-intensity combat duration, presenting it as the J-35's total flight time, a deliberate confusion of concepts. Such claims lack rigorous technical analysis and represent biased, awkward criticism driven by preconceived positions. This fighter has now entered mass production, with both Air Force and naval variants advancing. Official and professional evaluations remain largely positive, acknowledging its stealth performance, situational awareness, and maneuverability as reaching world-class standards. As recently as early 2026, Aviation Industry Corporation of China held its inaugural flight ceremony for the new year, where an unpainted J-35 took off from Shenyang Aircraft Corporation for test flights. This indicates production is progressing as planned, having entered the testing phase prior to batch delivery. On the deck of the Fujian aircraft carrier, J-35s with different paint schemes have also appeared. The light gray ones are familiar models, while the dark gray ones may represent upgraded variants. This demonstrates that the J-35 continues to undergo iterative development and is far from the half-finished product portrayed by Taiwanese media. As for its combat effectiveness and operational endurance, rather than listening to others' opinions, let the facts speak for themselves.